Hello. How are you all doing? We are going to talk about something that, when you see it, before you get all angry and close the tab and say, fuck him, he's talking about the company we don't like to talk about. Try and listen to what I'm trying to tell you here, because this is something we massively need within Linux. So let's see what that is. And I will now show you guys the good old Microsoft. Good old Microsoft. We need what they are doing right here. This is, in my opinion, an area where Linux is massively behind, besides documentation and all of that fucking shit, because documentation about Linux versus about Windows, it's like night and day. We have the Arch Wiki, but that's like only like a little drop. So what do I mean? Well, I mean, we need Ubuntu, we need Red Hat, SUSE, we need the big distribution makers to do stuff like this. Give people a way to learn computer science, IT infrastructure, data science, productivity, curriculum, if that's the right word, certifications, professional development, provide educators with the last technologies, curriculums, guidance, resources, and stuff like that. They are out there in colleges, high schools, and other educational places, and providing what they need so they can teach Microsoft technologies, of course, but also general technologies. We'll go into that a little bit later here. Where's Linux? This is a fundamental, massive, great thing to do, because they are not they are doing it because they want people to use Linux. It is a marketing ploy, okay? Don't fool yourself. They do this so people keep using Windows, but it's fucking smart, because you are teaching students computer skill, computer science with Windows. You are teaching people to code, machine learning, AI with Windows. You are teaching them creative skills with Windows. Where's Linux in that? Where's Ubuntu? Where's SUSE? Because if you let's say SUSE or Red Hat or Ubuntu went out to universities and colleges and stuff like that and said, you want to teach your kids Python. Why not do it under Linux? And here is all the tool you need. We give you support, we help you install it, and if you need some specific things, we develop it for you and stuff like that. So when the kids are learning to program Python, they learn it from Linux. When they are learning to do graphical work, they learn it on Linux. So that means when they're going out to the workforce, when they get adults, when they get older, they want to run on the system they learn to do the thing on. Catch them while they're young, not in a creepy way. But you get what I'm saying here. Microsoft also have something like this here, Learn. Why don't we have, I know that Ubuntu have a little bit of learning areas, and Red Hat has a little bit more about their specific certifications. But look here, and here's the thing, a lot of this don't cost you any fucking money. That's the other part. Some certifications cost you money, and some, like if you want a diploma and stuff like that, they can cost you money. But a lot of it in here is actually free, which is really, really crazy. And yes, there is a lot of Microsoft technologies in here, because they're giving it away for free. It's kind of a little bit like a promotion. But imagine if let's just again use Ubuntu here. Imagine if Ubuntu did that. Here we have products. This is like GitHub. You want to learn about GitHub? Why not learn about GitHub on Ubuntu? Teams, and then we have some Microsoft products here. Roles. You want to learn to be an administrator? Why not learn that under Linux? You want to be an AI engineer? Learn that under Linux. An app maker? Learn it under Linux. A developer, DevOps, data scientist, data engineer, data analytics, business user, educator, functional consultant, security engineer, security architect, student. They are doing all of this. We can take one of the really fun one here. So security engineer, DevOps is really, really in right now. Data science, data engineer, data analytics. They are teaching you how to be these generic things under Windows because they know that if you are using Windows while you are learning, the more you are using Windows, the more inclined you are to keep using Windows. So we need stuff like this. We don't need me or you to go out and teach people this stuff. We need Ubuntu, we need Red Hat, we need SUSE, we need those kind of people to teach the kids and the what is it called, middle-aged old folks like me and the old folks to do that under Linux, because we may not care about Linux if we want to learn to program. We may not care about Linux if we want to be a security engineer. We may, is that the one we have here? Yeah, security engineer. But if we are using Linux, we learn how to be that under Linux. And here, of course, they're talking a lot about Azure, but they also have like DevOps and stuff like that. We are learning DevOps on Linux software, Linux technologies. So that means that when we get out in the workforce, we already know that. We already living, or we have kind of been conditioned to run those jobs under Linux. This don't mean that we can't, use Windows, of course. We need that under Linux. We need it bad. We need them to do this again here at the educational center here. Professional developer, STEM and coding. That's a generic term. But they are using Microsoft technologies because they know that if people learn about STEM and coding, and then they go out to work, and they have done or they have used Windows, then they are more familiar with Windows. They are more, at ease. They are more cuddling with Windows, Stuff like that. It's kind of second nature for them to use Windows. Why are we not doing that with Linux? So when people are learning about STEM and coding, they're doing it under Linux on universities or in free code or whatever the fuck it is, Udemy and stuff like that. Why don't Canonical be like, hey, we want to sponsor Udemy, or we want to sponsor free code? I think it's freecode.org it's called. Here's some machines with Ubuntu on them. The only thing we require is that you make some courses with it on, and you can keep these machines with Ubuntu on it as long as you want. That's what Microsoft is doing. And it fucking works. Because then people like you and me are logging on to freecode.org or what it's called, and we are seeing the instructor using Linux. They are talking about setting it up under Linux. I think Freecode and Udemy are doing it on all platforms, but you can actively see that, it's not macOS, it's not Windows, it's Linux. And the psychology of it is that, I probably should use the same system as the professor or the teacher, because then I can follow them, point by point. So maybe I should install Ubuntu to learn how to do Python. We have Learn.tv or LearnTV. This is an amazing tool I have used a lot. Modern C++ game development on Microsoft platforms. But that don't mean you can't take it with you to Ubuntu or Red Hat or anything like that, because you are still learning C++. But they are using Microsoft technologies. You get what I'm saying here. And as far as I know, this is also free. Beginner series to web APIs. Yes, they are using Microsoft technologies, but 99% of this you can take with you to Windows, Linux, Mac OS, FreeBSD, or whatever it is, because you're still learning web and APIs. But it's done under Windows and with Windows technologies. Why Ubuntu, like I said, not going out and do that? Here's a really, really fun little trivia for you guys out there. This video here was the best video, at least for me, that taught me the most about Python. I'm not joking here. I tried Freecode, Udemy, all of these fucking free coding sites out there, and I got the basics from them. But watching this video here, More Python for Beginners full series, that's a little bit over your first hello program, but it's not like, it's a little bit between beginner and intermediate. It was really, really great, and they used Windows technologies, but they didn't go out and say you have to use Windows. Funny thing, I did a lot of it under Linux, funny enough. Again, where is Ubuntu? Where is not Canonical, it's Ubuntu. Where is Red Hat with a Python course that you and I can watch and learn Python for free, and we can see them using their representatives or their respected systems? again, if we see a teacher using a system, we are more inclined to use that system because, it's probably best if we use the same system as the teacher. A little bit of psychology put into it. If we go on to their website here, Microsoft developers here, you can learn a fucking lot about computer science, development, administration, anything that has to do with with computing. API gateway plugin in Java from Microsoft. From fucking Microsoft. This is a really big, or one of the really big holes we need to plug within Linux. We need to be more out there. And yes, this costs money. Yes, this takes effort. Yes, this is an investment. But you can't grow significantly without making investments. You have to look at the future. All of these things you see right here that Microsoft is doing here, this is not something that helps them now. It may not even help them in 5 years. But in 6, 10, 15 years, all of this makes sense. Maybe even 2, 3, 4 years, this will make sense. Like I said, if you're using the Python course here, you can spend 2, 3 years learning Python and you can get a Python job, and you learned all of that from Microsoft. And yes, you can use Microsoft technologies. And of course, they are talking about Microsoft technologies. So it's implemented into your brain, Microsoft technologies. We need to do this. I can't stress this enough. This is a place we need to run into like fucking Evel Knievel and go nuts into. We need, honestly, SUSE, Red Hat, Canonical, they need this. They need an equivalent to this. And again, if you're like, well, Microsoft has money to do it, and don't you think Red Hat has money? They have more money than you think. Don't you think SUSE have money? They have more money than you think. Don't you think Canonical have money? They have more money than you think. You don't need to go, crazy like they are here, but we need something that's at least close to what they have here. And what we need to do is the same as Microsoft is doing. Center it around Linux technologies. But make it so you can use the skills you learn in Windows and Mac OS and stuff like that, but we are teaching using Linux technologies. And it's proven to work. That's why they fucking do it. Microsoft don't spend all these fucking millions of dollars probably if this didn't fucking work for them. And trust me, Canonical can afford it, Red Hat can afford it, and SUSE can afford it to some extent. Meaning that they may not start out with what we have right here, but if we were just 50% there or 80% there, that would be massively fucking great. We are not providing people that want to switch or that want to try to turn to software something like this where they can go and learn about it. We are not providing people that want to learn general technologies within the computer and computer science to do that on on Linux. But Windows is doing it, or Microsoft is doing it. Yes, you can use a Linux computer in your local college. But wouldn't it be fucking amazing and cool if your teacher was like having a fucking Ubuntu laptop under the arm and like, yep, we are going to learn how to code Python in, let's say, Elementary OS Code program. It's the only one I can remember out of my head right now because I'm apparently getting old. So I recommend that you download the same program so you can follow me step by step. If you're using your own program, it may come some problems. So think about that. A lot of those people be like, yeah, I should probably have Elementary OS installed. That's what we need to do. We need to get these things into the hand of those people. We need to have it so when people want to switch, we have a fucking educational path, relearning path laid out for them they can follow. We are really good at telling people they should use our software, but we are really bad at educating them. Anyway, a little bit of rant about what we really need to do within Linux, or what I think is a big fucking missing part of the Linux ecosystem, and that is stuff like this. And I honestly have a hair in my eye here. if there's one thing where I'm like, Microsoft is doing the best job in the world, you're watching it right now. They're doing the best job in the world to educate people. They're doing the best job in the world to get their products into young people that are learning about technology. And that is massively important because in 5-10 years, they are the ones making decisions in IT companies. So they are the ones telling people what to use and not to use. Anyway, see you all later. I've been ranting for way too fucking long here. Yeah, we desperately need something like this.